Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hydration Nation, the science of performance. I am Caden Brown, and today we are exploring a subject frequently neglected in our field: the ideal frequency at which youth should be engaging in training. Many assume that increased activity is inherently better for children. While physical movement is vital for growth and maturation, the regularity of a child's training regimen is just as significant as the specific exercises they perform. In this episode, I will analyze the research regarding pediatric training frequency, explain the necessity of appropriate age guidelines, and discuss how fitness professionals, particularly those in gym environments, can implement these findings. According to research by White and colleagues in 2022, understanding optimal activity frequency is essential for enhancing both health and long-term athletic performance. The issue and why it matters. Let us address the primary concern. Currently, more children are participating in sports, physical education, and gym-based training. On the surface, this appears beneficial. However, we are observing two extremes. Youth are either insufficiently active or are overtraining without adequate recovery. Research indicates that children require approximately 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity daily. Yet, this does not necessitate high-intensity workouts every single day. When children train excessively without sufficient rest, it can result in heightened risk of injury, mental exhaustion, and diminished motivation over time. For instance, a child performing intense training 5 or 6 days weekly in a gym without recovery may experience fatigue, lose interest, or even sustain overuse injuries. Therefore, the objective is not merely movement. It is structured, intentional activity that supports long-term development. Benefits of consistent activity. Now, let us examine the advantages of implementing this correctly. Research demonstrates that consistent and structured physical activity enhances cardiovascular health, muscular strength, and overall physical development. For example, a study by Shai et al. 2022 discovered that children who regularly engage in sports and strength-based activities exhibit superior levels of strength and endurance. Another study by Corder et al. 2017 found that children participating in sports or PE at least twice weekly are significantly more likely to meet comprehensive activity guidelines. Thus, the core factor here is consistency. It is not about sporadic bursts of activity. It is about establishing a routine. For example, a child who exercises 3 to 4 times per week with varied activities will achieve better long-term results than one who overtrains for a week and then stops entirely. There are also cognitive advantages. Research by Lee et al. 2024 indicates that adolescents who engage in frequent physical activity tend to perform better academically. Ultimately, we are not just building stronger bodies. We are also supporting brain function, concentration, and overall well-being. Why frequency should be age appropriate. This is where scientific research becomes particularly critical. A major error in the fitness industry is treating children like miniature adults. Their bodies are still developing, which necessitates a different approach of training. Research indicates that more is not always better regarding structured exercise. For example, a study by Wren et al. 2026 found that preschool-aged children experience movements and strength and coordination with just 2 to 3 structured sessions per week. Increasing frequency beyond that point did not yield significantly greater benefits. This suggests that there is an optimal training frequency contingent upon the child's age and developmental stage. So, how do we remain within the optimal range? It requires balancing structured workouts with free play, incorporating rest and recovery days, and avoiding high intensity training daily. The primary takeaway is the importance of balance. Children require enough activity to improve fitness, but not so much that it leads to burnout or injury. Application to fitness program management. Now, let's connect to this fitness program management. Let us connect to this fitness program management. This is where we step in as future professionals. If you are a trainer, fitness manager, or exercise physiologist working with youth, your responsibility is to create programs that are safe, evidence-based, and developmentally appropriate, which is really important. This extends beyond writing workouts. It involves designing a comprehensive experience. First, structuring weekly programs correctly is essential. Rather than scheduling intense workouts daily, programs should incorporate a variety of activities. For example, moderate activity like jogging, cycling, jump rope, skill-based movements, agility drills, ladder work, resistant bands, and recovery. Stretching, light movement, or rest days. Second, educating parents and guardians is vital. Much overtraining stems from external pressure, parents desiring rapid movement for the children. It is our duty to explain that long-term development outweighs short-term performance. Third, we must prioritize long-term development over immediate gains. The object is not to produce elite athletes at a young age. It is to cultivate habits that endure a lifetime. Finally, programs must be enjoyable and engaging. If children find their activities fun, they are far more likely to remain consistent. And consistency is what drives results. Conclusion. To conclude, the primary takeaway from this episode is straightforward. Regarding children and exercise, more is not always better. Adhering to age-appropriate workout frequency guidelines helps enhance physical fitness, minimize injury risk, support mental and academic development, and establish long-term healthy habits. To make this practical, consider a simple weekly example. 2 to 3 structured training days, light strength, throwing some skill work, 2 to 3 active play days, you know, sports, games, throwing some movement, and 1 to 2 recovery days, rest, or, light activity. As a child progresses, intensity, structure can gradually increase, but only when they are physically and mentally prepared. It is also important to recognize that every child responds differently to training. Some may need additional recovery time, while others may be able to handle slightly more activity, you know, depending on their experience level and overall health. Monitoring how a child responds to training, both physically and mentally, is essential for making appropriate adjustments. For example, if a child begins to show signs of fatigue or maybe even tiredness, decreased performance, or a lack of motivation, it may be necessary to reduce training frequency, or better yet, incorporate more recovery days. On the other hand, if a child is progressing well and staying engaged, small increases in activity can be introduced gradually. This kind of flexibility ensures that training remains both effective and sustainable over time. As far as future exercise professionals, it is our responsibility to apply this research and design programs that are safe, structured, and most importantly, effective. Ultimately, the goal is not just to get children active, it's to help them remain active for life. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, guys, into Hydration Nation, Science of Performance. Peace, guys.